Hi there, hi, good morning everyone. This is Liz Davis. I am a nutritionist and I specialise in digestive health for busy women. So I help busy women fix their IBS issues, bloating, painful digestion, heartburn, etc. Any kind of related hormone health issues, so menopause, perimenopause, painful periods, etc. Chronic fatigue, for example. All these things can at least in part be traced back to a gut imbalance, so quite happy to chat through all these issues with you, as well as having out and out gut problems. So caffeine, it's a confusing area, isn't it, because there's so much conflicting advice out there. One minute it's good for you, next minute it's bad for you, so what are you supposed to do? So what I'll do is just do a quick rundown of a few reasons that suggest caffeine can be beneficial, and then a few reasons which suggest it's actually not that great at all. I think a lot of the time what I see is the trouble with caffeine is that where it's such an intrinsic part of our culture, people have been brought up with caffeine. We've always drunk caffeine in one form or another. So if we've had tea as a child and then progressed onto coffee and then fizzy drinks, etc., to some extent it's always been present in our diet a lot of the time. So we just don't know how we're going to feel if we don't have it anymore, and what kind of detrimental effect it can potentially be having. So that's something certainly to bear in mind. But the science does suggest that there are a few reasons it can be really good for you. So firstly, I'll run through the good points first. Firstly, it does seem to promote longevity. That's what the science says. You know, people who drink caffeine, so coffee, tea, etc., do tend to live a lot longer. They're less likely to succumb to disease. So that's what the science says. There could possibly be science that says that isn't the case, but there's certainly some science that says it does do that. It certainly, secondly, does contain a lot of important micronutrients. So potassium, magnesium, for example, niacin, all these things are really important to have in your diet. Thirdly, it is a great source of antioxidants such as polyphenols. It does contain an abundance of those which are really beneficial, and sometimes they can be like the caffeinated drinks, for example, coffee and tea, can be the only source of polyphenols in certain people's diets. So although it's not recommended that you rely on coffee, for example, to get your polyphenol intake, we really want to be seeing you getting polyphenols from a wide range of plant-based foods. It certainly is, you know, a very kind of reliable source. Chocolate as well, like proper chocolate, is also a rich source of polyphenols. It does seem to protect against heart disease, diabetes, and depression, and increases concentration. It also really increases physical performance, and if you're someone who does do a lot of sports, you will know that caffeine can really help on that front as well. So it's certainly not all bad when it comes to caffeine. It's also thought to protect against cirrhosis of the liver, and some people say promote weight loss. I'm not so sure about that, but I'll come on to why I don't think that in just a bit. But it's certainly, some science is suggesting that that is exactly what it does. So those are the benefits. So the other end of the scale is when it cannot be so great for you. So it's addictive, and for some people it is very, very addictive indeed. They have a very difficult time coming off of it. Dreadful withdrawal symptoms, headaches, and all sorts of awful things. So if that's you, I would definitely suggest coming off it very, very slowly. And then if you do start to suffer, then just give in and have a cup of tea or coffee just to take the edge off, and then proceed to just really drop it back really, really slowly. Secondly, caffeine does really overstimulate your system. It can sometimes, you know, cause adrenal gland burnout, which of course is really what we want to avoid. You know, and when your adrenal glands are overstimulated, that floods your system with glucose. And if you're someone, say if you've got gut problems and the root cause is something like a yeast infection or candida or what have you, flooding your system periodically with glucose is really going to be detrimental for you. So I would definitely, if you've got any kind of gut problem, I would think about reducing, if not eliminating, your caffeine, because you could be inadvertently fueling the situation there by drinking it. So So also, yes, this is where I come on to the weight, because if your system is being constantly flooded with glucose, and it's glucose and insulin and the subsequent insulin reaction which is causing weight gain, then it cannot be good for weight loss at all. Best case scenario, I would think that the effect of the caffeine possibly cancels out the effect of the glucose. Possibly that's what's happening there, but I wouldn't use it as a weight loss aid personally. But there you go, the science, as I say, is very conflicted with caffeine. Thirdly, it can most definitely worsen digestive issues. It speeds up the kind of the speed that your gut is moving at. So if you're someone who suffers with IBS, this is probably not going to be very good for you and could be aggravating the situation there somewhat. So if you're an IBS sufferer, I would certainly be looking to reduce it. Not only that, but because the caffeine can make you very jittery, and we know that what's going on in your mind is very closely linked to what's going on in your gut, then that can be potentially a really disastrous situation for you. So you've got the jitteriness that it's creating, overstimulating your gut, while at the same time the caffeine itself is just causing those gut contractions to be really pumping much too quickly for you. And about 50% of the population have been shown not to tolerate caffeine very well at all. So if you're someone like that, you may not realise how bad it's making you feel until you start to cut it down or reduce or, eliminate it altogether. So maybe try taking out a few of your cups of caffeine each day and replacing it with even green tea can be better, because that's generally kind of calms you down a little bit, although it does contain a little bit of caffeine too. But ideally, there's other herbal teas. Red Bush, for example, tastes a lot like tea, but it's also caffeine free. So maybe give that a go and see how you feel afterwards. Lastly, and really importantly, it can cause really bad insomnia. So if you're someone who does suffer with waking up repeatedly in the night, or you can't drop off in the first place, then maybe try reducing your caffeine intake right down, or not having any at all, and see if that makes you sleep better. I know it certainly made me sleep a lot better, and I was only having 1 cup first thing in the morning. So it really, I think what it boils down to is everybody reacts differently to caffeine. Some people tolerate it really well and can have 8 cups a day and it doesn't make any difference. Some people, 1 cup can really have quite a detrimental effect. So it's worth experimenting just to see if the caffeine is causing issues for you. Okay, so I hope you found that useful. Do like and share if you did, and then there's also a link in the comments if you'd like to book a call with me to discuss your gut health, and also to download some free recipes as well. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye.